afternoon, good evening, welcome to the first edition of a brand new season of the Rovers Bulletin. Now this is our new series where we take a look at what's been happening around the football club. We're going to be offering our honest opinions. We are back for a brand new season and we've got some incredible content coming up on the channel. We'll have some football fan files, we will have some other videos, we will be having tons of content, so I can't wait to deliver it all here on the channel for you guys. Make sure you do like if you are new around here, subscribe if you're new around here, hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. We are going to get straight into this. I hope you enjoy these kind of more natural, long form, kind of natural edits, like less cutting, that kind of edit. So these kind of videos are going to be very much natural conversation and very much sort of just thinking in the moment. So before we get started with the first edition, we have to pay tribute to Rovers legends who passed away in the last week or two. The first legend is Chris Rabjohn. Now he made 169 appearances, scored 9 goals, spent 5 years with Rovers, and he won the Division 4 title back in 1969. He signed for Rotherham United in 1963, making his first team debut in 65 in a 1-1 draw against Portsmouth at Fratton Park, making 24 appearances for Rotherham, scoring 3 goals as the Millers finished 7th in Division 2. He left Rotherham for Doncaster in 68 in a deal that saw Colin and Harold Wilcoxon move to Bellevue, while Graham Watson and Dennis Lee headed in the opposite direction. So it's very much like the trade deals that you see in like the NBA now in basketball. Of course, Chris made his debut, like I said, in 68 with a 1-1 draw at Bradford Park Avenue in a Division 4 match. And in his first full season, he won that Division 4 title, he made 30 league appearances, scoring 3 as part of Laurie McMenemy's team. He remained at Rovers until 72-73 when he was released. By then, Rovers were back in Division 4 and Maurice Setters was in charge, and he has passed away at the age of 80. So everyone involved with Doncaster Rovers and the football community sends their regards to Chris's family and friends. Now, the second Rovers legend we have to pay tribute to is Colin Booth, a prolific goal scorer, a former 2-time Division 1 title winner, spending 2 years with Rovers in the early 1960s, scoring 60 goals in 101 matches. He joined Wolves back in 1952, making his debut in a West Midlands derby win over Aston Villa at Molineux. He was part of the league title winning Wolves side of 58 and 59, winning 1 cap for England under-23s, coming off the bench to replace Rovers legend Alec Jeffrey, where he suffered a broken leg. Following 82 appearances and 27 goals for Wolves, he switched to Nottingham Forest, adding 41 goals and 98 appearances across 3 top-flight campaigns. And with his entire career in Division 1 to that point, it was a coup, as described on the website, when Rovers, managed at the time by Oscar Holt, secured his services for the start of the 62-63 season. His debut for Rovers came in August when he found the net in a 3-1 defeat at Chesterfield, and a goal from Colin against Exeter saw Rovers secure their first win of the season at the 7th time of asking, following it up with another in a 1-0 win over Gillingham. He scored consistently in a disappointing campaign, with a personal highlight being a hat-trick and a win over Newport County at Somerton Park. They finished 16th, but Colin scored 36 goals in 51 appearances across all competitions. In the following season, he scored a hat-trick in a 3-0 home win over Southport in front of 11,000 into Bellevue, with the return of Alec Jeffrey on that day. He scored twice in a 10-0 home win over Darlington in 1964, which is still the record victory for Rovers, and he finished that season with 24 goals from 50 matches. He moved to Oxford United in 1964 and scored 23 goals in his maiden season to set a club record and secure promotion to Division 3, and he had non-league spells at Cambridge and Cheltenham and settled in Oxford, working at the John Ratcliffe Hotel. He passed away on the 11th of May at the age of 90, and again, everyone involved with Doncaster Rovers and the football community sends their heartfelt thoughts, regards and prayers to the family and friends of Colin Booth. We honour those two with the first show of the season today, so let's get on with it. Let's get straight into the news today, and we're going to today's a bit of a recap, almost. We're going to be sort of recapping what's happened over the last few weeks, because we've not really had this first season episode for a while. So we're going to sort of recap things that we already know, things that we've seen, things that you guys already know about, etc. So we're going to start off with the signing of Robbie Gotts. Now, I've spoken about this on social media. I've spoken about this on all over, on TikTok, on X, on Instagram. I think this is a brilliant signing. Robbie Gotts is perfect for us. Absolutely perfect. And I did explain on social media, and I will bring up that post as I'm recording this, what I said about that signing, what I spoke about with the signing of Robbie Gotts, because it was, for me, a signing that displayed the fact that we were going for it. We weren't just going to, settle for to make up the numbers in League One this season. I do think we are going to actually go for it and actually, prove our worth in this division. I'll bring up my quoted tweet once we made this signing. Yes, I joked about it, saying I called it when Barrow's retained list came out, etc., etc. A bit of a laugh and a joke. Some people took it serious. But like I said on here, if you didn't know already, dynamic, versatile, aggressive in midfield, a number 8 style player, relentless presser, huge ball recovery ability, a huge asset for a high intensity midfield that McCann's wanting, comfortable in possession, dictates the tempo, executes progressive passes, has a good blend of technical ability, versatility and work ethic, which aligns with the manager's tactical approach. He's a key figure for the upcoming season when you look at everything and round everything up. For me, I think that Robbie Gotts has been perfect to be added to this midfield. I think when you look at the midfield already, you've got Owen Bailey, who's coming off another good season. You've got George Broadbent, who's having a more improved season this season than last year. You've got Close that's coming back in. Westbrook's going to be involved in some regard if he doesn't get offloaded out of the squad. And obviously you've got 1 or 2 young players coming through. Will Flint, who can play as a DM as well as a centre-back. And you've got Sam Stroud-Brown, who's this young 18-year-old that's going to hopefully break through this year in the Cup. And for me, I think that Robbie Gotts is someone who immediately competes for a starting place. There's no doubt in that. He competes for a starting place almost instantly. I do think you need one more in there. I do think you need one more player in there. I think that obviously the links at the minute have been talking about Dean Campbell again from Barrow, and I think that partnership with Robbie Gotts would be perfect in League One. I think with other clubs after him, though, I think there are other options. If you didn't already see my Doncaster Rovers recruitment plan, which is on the Drive link, which is on my social media, I think it's pinned still to the top of my X page, so go and check it out. It's pinned to my TikTok as well. Go and check it out if you haven't already. It's linked to my TikTok bio and my Instagram bio as well. If you haven't already seen that and you haven't seen the players or you didn't see the players that I actually had on that list, and you didn't know who I had in that midfield as options, because I had a few. I had my alternative options and I had my kind of starting players, if you will. I mentioned other positions as well if you want to go and check that out. I sort of settled on a loan deal and I went with Bailey Rice, and he was the main option I went with here, was a loan from Rangers. I think Bailey Rice was the guy that I'm looking at as another option. In terms of alternatives, you had George Abbott on loan from Tottenham. Ideally, yes, I think he'll probably go to a higher League One club or a Championship club. So I think that could be out of the question. Dean Campbell obviously linked to us. Charlie Crew has been with us before. Victor Gromek from Stoke City is someone who I think could be very, very special. I think he's got great potential. So you've got options in that regard, and I do think that either way, I think this has been. I think the centre midfield is probably the most stacked area we've got. I think if you loan in someone like a Bailey Rice or a George Abbott or even a Jamie McDonnell from Nottingham Forest, or bring him in if he ends up leaving at the end of his contract, I think that is the kind of thing we should be looking at here. I think that's the kind of signing we should be looking at here. I think that a loan that needs some senior experience and some regular first team football. And I'll use my choice as an example. You imagine in that centre midfield, you've got Owen Bailey, you've got George Broadbent. You're probably going to keep Ben Close for another season or Westbrook for another season and offload the other one. Or both of them, you never know. But you've got the youth breaking through anyway, like Sam Brown. So they take third choice anyway. I think for me, Sam Brown takes the third choice spot away from Close or Westbrook immediately in that double pivot. So you've got Bailey, you've got Broadbent, you've got Gotts. Then imagine you loan in someone or bring in someone like McDonnell or George Abbott or Charlie Crew again or a Bailey Rice on loan from Rangers. That midfield is so underrated and could be so undervalued in this division next season in League One, back in League One. I think it seriously needs to be considered. I think it seriously needs to be reconsidered as one of the most undervalued midfields in League One. When you've got potentially Bailey Rice, if we end up going for a player like that, Bailey, Broadbent, Gotts. It works in so many different ways. So for me, I think that the midfield is stacked. I think one more in there and you've got your midfield sorted pretty much. Close or Westbrook or both of them could go anyway. But then you've got the youngsters like Sam Brown coming through. So I'd say the midfield's pretty much stacked after one more signing, in my personal opinion. But yeah, Robbie Gott's a fantastic signing. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant signing. And for me, I think he does wonders in that division. I think he's a very underrated player. And I think he suits the way we play, which is perfect for what McCann wants to do as well. Because I've seen comments already from people. I do agree to an extent. I think that we are going to bring more of a transitional side out of us in League One. I think with League One being a bit, I won't say less physical than League Two, but I'd say a bit more attacking than League Two. I think that you can encourage a bit more possession play. I think in transition is going to be very, very important in this division next season. So I think that it's very, very important to get that secure. So I think that Robbie Gott's a fantastic signing for what we need in terms of going into League One next season. And yeah, I think this could be brilliant. Now, talking about the contract situation, because we've had some contracts accepted and rejected, we are waiting on another one. The comments are that it's a bit of a standoff on Bobby Faulkner's contract. I don't know what to make about that, to be honest with you. I think that, for me, I think Faulkner's gone. If you want me to have a guess, I don't like making guesses, but if you want me to have a guess at why there could be a potential standoff in the contract situation with Faulkner, it could be to do with game time. I don't think Bobby Faulkner will start week in, week out in League One. I think he's a bit player that could be loaned out to National League. But then on Faulkner's side of it, you're probably thinking, if I were Bobby Faulkner, I'd be thinking to myself, well, I don't want to be a bit player at this age. I want to be starting week in, week out. And if I have to do that, I do want to stay here. But for game time reasons, to get the most out of my ability, I've got to leave to the National League North, that kind of level. Someone like a Buxton on a permanent deal could be brilliant for him. A Spennymoor could be fantastic. Even in the National League itself, I think Boston United could be a fantastic destination for him. I think that if you want to go even further out, I think Brackley Town, just promoted to the division, could be fantastic for him as well. So, and Scunthorpe as well. So you've got options. So I think from a Faulkner perspective, I think it's a case of, do I put the love of the club or the love I have for the football club over what's best for my ability and what's best for my potential going forward? Is it best for me to leave the club I love? Or do I stay here, rot on the bench, go out on loan for a bit, but stay under contract? It's a weird 50-50 situation. I don't know who's going to win it. It's a bit like a Wild West shootout. You don't know who's going to draw first and fire the first bullet. So for me, I think it's a bit of a standoff, and it's very, very clear from the press statements that it's a bit of a standoff. In terms of contracts accepted, we do have a couple. Billy Sharp, first of all, he has signed a brand new one-year extension. Of course, we all know the means. He's playing till he's 40. He's committed his future to the club until the summer of next year in 2026. He said, I thoroughly enjoyed my season getting promoted, winning the league. It all fell into place nicely. I thought I had a good season personally. I feel wanted here. It's a great dressing room. We're playing a league higher and everyone wants to play as high as they can. For me, like I say, he scored 12 goals in 51 appearances this past season. When you look on the cold light of day, would you like to have seen more goals from Billy Sharp? Absolutely. But at 39 years old, to still score 12 goals in that league with the physicality in that division, I think it's fantastic. I think that Sharp is producing what he needs to produce to get out the most of the last years of his career. He said he'd keep playing till he's 40, and it's very, very clear that that is the case. I think that he'll retire. In my personal opinion, I don't want to make predictions this early on. I think he will retire at the end of this next season. I think by the end of the season, I think we'll have a retirement ceremony for Billy Sharp, and he'll retire at Doncaster Rovers. So if this is his last season in football, let's send him out on a high. Should he be the number one striker week in, week out at League One level? No. But there is no doubting the impact he can make off the bench. He can come up in clutch moments. And, you know, I've dealt Billy Sharp the fair share of constructive criticism over the season last year as well. In moments, he can come up and he can give you clutch moments. There's no denying that. So for me personally, I think that it's the right move. 100% it's the right move to extend him for a year, just to offer that depth and a bit of experience in the dressing room, especially with Richard Wood, who is retiring as we predicted. Congratulations and best wishes to Richard Wood. Obviously, he's gone to become Rotherham's new coach in the coaching setup with the new manager, Matt Ramshaw, I think his name is. So, best of luck to Richard. And obviously, with him gone out of the dressing room, Billy needed to be here for that leadership responsibility. So, yeah, I think overall, I think looking back, it was probably the right move to extend it for a year. Another contract we've extended for a year is Ian Lawlor. I think this saves us the opportunity of bringing in two keepers. He will commit his future until summer of 2026 as well. He said it was a no-brainer. It's a club I've been for 7 years across the two spells, and it's a club that I love and somewhere I want to be. I've had success over the two spells I've been here, and I want to continue that. Again, I can't disagree. I think that Lawlor's been very professional about this. Has he started as many games as he would have liked? No. I think he knows deep down that he's second choice, and I think that whoever we bring in as the first choice keeper, I think that he knows Lawlor that he's the second choice. So, for me, I think that, again, this is a perfect move. I think that Lawlor's made the right decision, and I think he's been very professional about it. And I think he is a good second choice. He's not fantastic, but I think he's a great second choice for a team that's just come up from League Two straight back into League One. I think he offers that depth of competition for the trophy games, for the group stage of the trophy. And I think that Lawlor gives us that bit of something in terms of just having that strength and depth if needed, if our number one keeper gets injured all throughout the season. And I do think Lawlor is a good shot stopper at times. So I think that, again, this contract was much needed, because then we can look at it next summer if Lawlor decides to leave, depending where we finish, etc., and we can bring in a long-term second choice to an experienced first choice this summer, probably, and depending on how the goalkeeper situation works this summer in the transfer window, and you have a long-term second choice that's going to be ready to become first choice in a year or two when he's ready. So I think the goalkeeping department, I think in terms of players, goalkeeper is going to be really interesting to watch, because you've got potential long-term strategy with that position. So I'm interested to keep an eye on that, but for this next season, Ian Lawlor will still be here. Now then, let's go into a couple of players who are leaving the club, and we already know are leaving the club, starting off with Joseph Olowu. This was the big one. Gutted to hear about this one when it came out. He received an improved offer from the first contract to extend his stay, but he informed Grant McCann that his intentions are to explore other options, and McCann said, we offered Joseph a very good contract, but he came to me just before the season finished, told me that he'd like to find a new club. He feels like he needs a fresh challenge, and I get that to an extent. I do get that. And he said it's disappointing because we'd love to keep him. The club have been brilliant with the offer that we sent to Joseph, and I think everyone connected to the club would love to keep Joseph. At the end of the day, it's his decision. We wish him well. For us, we now have to recruit in that position, which we're well ahead of the game with, which could be an indication that centre-back is the next transfer we get into the club. Even back then when it first came out that Olowu was leaving, that could be an indication that centre-back is the next signing we make, potentially. I think goalkeeper or centre-back is probably the next signing we make. From an Olowu perspective, completely get it. If you've got an offer to go and play championship football or go to a club with more money than us, you can't deny him of that. But what I love about this manager is that he's gone about this the right way. He sort of said, look, we gave him a new contract offer. He's told us he's going to find a new challenge. We've accepted that. We're disappointed, but we're recruited in that position and we're thinking ahead of that one. That is what a proactive football club does, not a reactive football club. We've become a bit more of a proactive... since Grant McCann's been back, we've been more of a proactive football club. We've got the business done early, or we're getting the business done early now. We are ahead of the game. We're bringing in the players we need to bring in, that's on our list, that we want to sign. And I'll go on about centre-backs later once we've talked about Anderson's contract, which, spoiler alert, he's gone to Shrewsbury anyway. And, we're thinking ahead. We're thinking ahead of the game. And we're being proactive rather than reactive. We're not just sitting there going, right, well, Olowu's leaving, now we can start searching for centre-backs. And people come out if we heard that and gone, well, why didn't you start searching for centre-backs before you get where I'm going with that. So for me, I think Olowu leaving and then already ahead of the game looking at replacements is exactly what we should have been doing, and we're doing the right things. 100% we're doing the right things. But from a personal perspective, Olowu goes with nothing but my best wishes, and I think everyone's best wishes. Love him personally, love him as a player. Really good, comfortable ball playing defender, good in the air at times as well. He's a passionate man as well. He's a passionate player. You know, he felt the club. He loves the club. He'll always love this club. If there's an opportunity for him to come back, if he doesn't quite cut it at Championship, and he has an opportunity to come back down, we'd love to take it potentially. But for now, at least, it's the end of the road. But from a personal sense, he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Great ambassadors for his football club, a community man. He's won the community awards. He's a proper community player. His family are lovely. I got the chance to speak to his family on the final home game when we got promoted. And his family were amazing to speak to. In fact, his mum, spoiler alert, if Olowu was watching this and he didn't know this, Olowu's mum asked me to have a picture with her. I mean, that was mental, absolutely mental. So, thank you to Olowu's mum, if you're watching this, for that picture on the final home game. And the rest of his family, his sisters are incredible as well. And, his whole family's lovely. And I wish him nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. The second contract departure, again, it's a sad one. And it's for mainly a different reason, and it's because he's a long-term servant for this football club, and that is Tom Anderson. I'm in some way devastated from a sentimental sense. He left. Obviously, he signed. He was offered a new 2-year deal with the option of additional 12 months following the end of the season, but he opted to join Shrewsbury Town instead. That's already been announced regardless. He's joined Shrewsbury Town. He'll be competing in the back line for Michael Appleton's side to try and get Shrewsbury back into League One at the first time of asking next season. Longest serving player at the football club, I believe Luke Molyneux is the now longest serving player. Anderson was longest serving player, having joined the club initially on loan from boyhood club Burnley in 2018. This is 2018, by the way. And of course, he departs having made over 250 appearances, including starting the final ever match of the season on the run to the title. And I think it was probably poetic that Anderson leaves with a promotion and a title, because he's not yet got a promotion with us. Of course, I think it was a year or two before he joined when we got promoted out of League Two, or under Darren Ferguson. So he missed out on that. He missed out on the opportunity, and he finally got a promotion and a trophy on his CV with Doncaster Rovers, which was much needed, because before that injury against Fleetwood in 2021, he was a fantastic servant, and then the injury kind of hampered him a bit, and I think he probably admit that. And then he kind of came into his own in these last 11 matches and really proved himself to be a consistent presence at the back. Does he suit League One week in, week out? No, I don't think he does. But I think it would have been a good rotational option to have under contract to help us in that department. Because now the only fit senior centre back we've got at the club is McGrath, with Wood retiring, Olowu gone, Anderson gone, and Will Flint. He's young. He'll come good. I think he's got great potential, Will Flint, and I think his loan at Darlington proved that. I think he's similar to Bailey in a way, where he's a centre back and a defensive midfielder, but with an 18-year-old and with Jay McGrath, who will be leading the line at the back next season, week in, week out when he's fit, you're going to need at least a couple of defenders. And I'll go back to my recruitment plan for what I suggested in that particular position. Again, if you've already seen this, or if you want to see it, go and check it out. The link's in the description. My other options, I had Caelan Casey on loan from West Ham, O'Riordan on loan from Blackburn, of course, ex-Crew, Joe Redmond from St. Pat's, George Stangier from Ayr United. For me, that was a brilliant bit of research that I did. A physical but tactically aware defender, an effective aerial defender. And then the three options that I actually went for in the end, I went for Luke Graham from Dundee on a permanent deal. I think he's just perfect. I think he offers exactly what we need. On loan from Arsenal, Maldini Kakuria. No, not just because he's called Maldini. I think he is an effective defender, and I think that he would come good in League One. And then if we didn't get Bailey Rice on loan from Rangers, depending on how many players you can sign from one club on loan, I think Clinton Enciala would be a very ambitious one on loan from Rangers. I think that he'd be a very ambitious loan deal if we could get him in, but that's on the very ambitious, slightly more unrealistic scale. But again, that's just from my perspective anyway. But we're going to need at least 2 or 3 centre-backs with Will Flint coming in as a youngster. So Anderson goes to Shrewsbury. Olowu leaves on a free. We don't know the situation of Bobby Faulkner. If Faulkner agrees to an extension, he'll probably go out on loan again. So we're going to need at least 2 or 3 centre-backs this window. Maybe one of them on loan, two permanents at least. So I think that's maybe the direction we go in this summer. So then you've got McGrath and Flint as well. I think Flint will be progressed into the senior squad along with Sam Brown. And yes, you've got Casper Williams as well to think about, 17, 18 years old. Again, I could see him getting a youth loan. I think he's, out of the 3 young players, I think out of him, Flint and Sam Brown, SSB, I think that Williams is probably the most likely to get loaned out again, so on a youth loan or a development loan. So I'd say Flint and Brown are probably the 2 that will get in first. But you've got that Williams option if you need, because he did do well in the times that he's appeared in the senior squad already. The couple of times he's appeared, he's actually been really good. So he's got potential. I'll give you that. But now let's go into the final bit of news today to sort of recap what's been a very productive few weeks for Rovers, and that is the new coach. Now, we had the announcement, Cal Leatherin staying as goalkeeping coach. Lee Glover's moving to head of recruitment. James Coppinger's moving down to become a coach. And we're bringing in a new coach. And we brought in Barry Richardson, who's very familiar to both McCann and Byrne. Now, Barry Richardson is making his return to DM4. Obviously, he's been a goalkeeper before with Doncaster Rovers. Now, in terms of, for those who don't know who he is as a coach, first of all, as a player, he played with Sunderland, but his most notable spells came with Northampton and Lincoln before arriving at Rovers in 2000 during the conference years. He made 62 appearances before moving on to Halifax Town. And of course, he returned to the club in 2004 as a goalkeeping coach, along with leading coaching in the youth academy. He had coaching spells at Nottingham Forest, Cheltenham Town, Peterborough United and Wycombe Wanderers before joining Hull City, working with Grant and Cliff. And even though he's been a goalkeeping coach in recent years, Richardson will focus on outfield coaching at Rovers. So we've got a versatile coach with loads of experience. He knows the manager. He knows what it, as he said in the comments, he said on the website, he knows exactly what it takes to get out of this division. He won the league with me. It's an excellent appointment, says McCann, and I'm pleased the club has backed me to make it. And again, I love the fact that the board, a bit like the training facilities, for those who don't know that story, he sat down with the board in the summer last year and said, basically, I can't work in these training facilities. They need upgrading. They need investment. Because right now we need to be heading towards long-term the championship. And we're working in League 2 facilities. And yes, we were in League 2, but McCann wanted more. And because he demands that of the board's under the new direction of Terry Bramall, you know, someone who bleeds red and white, sort of said, okay, we'll do it. And we're working on that at the minute, working in partnership with Workbox, who did work on Aston Villa. So we're investing in a championship-style training facility because of McCann making that demand. Now McCann said to the board, I want a coach that can take us from here to here. And the board said, we'll do that because it's a coach that he's worked with before, so he knows how he operates. I see nothing but positives with this appointment. And again, it's a very positive appointment. I think that with the experience he's got, with the versatility as a coach, the fact he's been a goalkeeping and an outfield coach, he's got that tactical versatility about him. And I think that he offers something, you know, a bit extra. So I think this is nothing but brilliant. I think this is nothing but brilliant in terms of the right level of move. But that is going to be it for this particular video. We are going to be back with future Rovers Bulletins throughout the season. We're going to be checking out, obviously, doing live streams for the league fixture release dates. We're going to do a live stream for the Carabao Cup draw, with the FA Cup draw, with the Trophy Group stage draw. We're going to do all of that in live streams over the season. We're going to do some live watch-alongs of some of the away games from the studio. We're going to do some on-location reviews as well, so stay tuned for videos from them. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now. I hope you're ready for another fantastic season. And for now, that is full time. Rovers, till I die.